It's time for a Big Blue Kickoff Live.
Nobody can ever tell you that you couldn't do it, because you did.
On Giants.com.
You know what I saw? New York Giant pride.
And the Giants mobile app.
17-14 is the final. One touchdown, we are world champions. Believe it, and it will happen.
Part of the Giants Podcast Network.
Let's go out there like a bunch of crazy dogs. Have some fun.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday's Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the Giants. I am John Schmeelk. He is Paul Dottino. We are floating, ethereal, feeling very good right here in the Hackensack Meridian Health Podcast Studio. Keep getting better. Mr. Dottino, how are you, sir?
I'm very, very good, John, although not as good as you were at the Garden last night.
No. No, you were not. I honestly, last night my voice was a bit of a struggle. I woke up this morning and I feel really good, which is good.
Okay, we'll take that.
It was a heck of a win by our New York Knicks.
Indeed.
To take a 3-1 lead over the Boston Celtics. I feel bad for Jason Tatum, and I feel bad for Celtics fans.
I feel bad for the league.
Yeah, for everybody. I mean,
anytime a superstar goes down, it stinks for the league.
And by the way, he's not Draymond Green, right? Like where he does a bunch of stuff that's
no,
annoy you.
He's not
and
a dirty
even
player.
No, he's a good dude. He's a good player, and he played a hell of a game. He was single-handedly keeping the Celtics. The Knicks kept coming into 4 or 5, and he kept hitting one big three, and like tough contested ones, step backs, like just his shot making was unbelievable. So I feel bad that he got hurt and he's gonna miss. Now who knows? Maybe all of next season too. We'll see what the diagnosis is. But I think the Knicks, even if he didn't get hurt, I think Knicks would have won that game anyway.
Yes.
They had extended the lead to 10 with 3 minutes to go. And again, Mikal Bridges and Jalen Brunson in the fourth quarter, man, just stepping up and doing a great job. So Knicks need to win one more. They got 3 more games to do it. Try to put them away in 5. Get some rest before the Eastern Conference Finals, whomever that ends up being against. I would not mind have a chance to get some payback against the Pacers.
Yeah, I hear you.
That would be nice. Kind of relive the 90s when it was almost like an every other year
Halliburton has become
thing.
A real pain in the butt, too.
Oh, dude, he is. I said this. I put this on Twitter the other day. Not playing style or even playing ability, but he is very Reggie Miller-ish.
The attitude.
Well, and just his whole frame, he's light.
Yeah.
He'll like goad you into like pushing him, and then he'll flop just like Reggie Miller used to do, all that type of stuff. But anyway, heck of a win last night. I honestly do feel bad for Pearson over there, who, I don't feel bad because the Celtics lost, but I do feel bad with the Tatum thing.
Well,
so.
yeah, because the Celtics are going to get broken up now. Bobby Marks was on ESPN Radio last night,
it's
and he said, with the salary cap the way it is, they pretty much were going to have to do some breaking up anyway.
Yeah.
And now losing Tatum for probably most of next season, it puts them in a real soup.
He can go home and cuddle with his championship ring from last year. I think he's feeling it.
I just think it's great the Knicks ended their little bit of a run. That's all I care about.
Well, I'm just happy that the Knicks are continuing on. That's what I'm happy about.
That's for sure.
And then we'll see what happens elsewhere.
They got to finish ending it first.
I said there's one more. I said there's one. That's the first thing that came out of my mouth, Paul. There's one more.
Let me take a breath. There is one more. Yes.
We're in the Giants Podcast Studio, presented by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. So today's show, folks, is going to be a fun one. So we have the schedule coming out on Wednesday night. So we thought we'd do a little. Paul and Matt will get more into it tomorrow. We'll take your calls. We'll take your calls on the schedule today too at 201-939-4513. And we thought it would be fun to do a little like top 10 list for Paul and I of the things that we're thinking about the schedule, some fun predictions, and just things that we're kind of thinking about. So I thought that would be fun. Before we start, can I throw one stat at you?
A stat? Sure.
Yes.
I love stats. They're factual.
Let me throw a stat at you. So, since 2017, as fans may or may not know, I guess I'll state this fact first, we of course know who the Giants' opponents are next year. We just don't know the order.
Right.
So, the Giants, according to last year's winning percentages, which again is significant, but you don't know how teams are going to be from one year to the next. With that said, the Giants have the toughest strength of schedule based off of last year's winning percentages.
Yes.
And fans might say, why? Aren't teams with worse records supposed to get easier schedules? It impacts 3 matchups on your schedule.
That's it.
Who the Giants are playing in the NFC West, who the Giants are playing in the AFC East, and who the Giants are playing in the NFC South. Otherwise, all their games are just against the NFC East, NFC North, AFC West. So it's 3 matchups. Here's the problem. The Giants, unlike the Eagles, or the Commanders for that matter, they get to play the Giants on their schedule, who won 3 games last year.
And we have to play them.
The Giants have to play the Commanders, Eagles, and Cowboys, though that's in common,
Yes.
on their schedule,
Yes.
and they've won 13 games and 11 games. So that's going to skew the strength of schedule more than those other 3 matchups on the schedule are going to. So that's how it happened. Anyway,
Yes.
So here's the stat I was going to give you. And NFL Stats and Info sent this over. I thought it was a
Yes.
good one. So since 2017, Paul, of the teams that have had the hardest strength of schedule entering the year, so that would be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 seasons.
Okay.
How many of those 8 teams do you think have made the playoffs? Now, keep in mind, the team with the harder strength of schedule is usually one of the better teams in the league.
Yes.
So, just it didn't have to be the case this year. How many of those 8 teams do you think made the postseason?
3.
2. So I'll go through the teams.
Okay.
2017 Broncos. That's coming off, I believe that was the Peyton Manning Super Bowl in 2016, if I'm not mistaken.
Sounds right.
And then he retired, so obviously that's a rebuild. They went
Yes.
5-11, missed the playoffs. Packers 2018. Aaron Rodgers went 6-9-1, missed the playoffs. Raiders 2019. That seems like a random team to have the toughest schedule, but again, it's probably because of this division they're in.
The divisional rotation really skews it.
7-9, missed playoffs. 2020 Patriots off the Super Bowl. 7-9, missed playoffs. They also, I think, Brady departed that year.
Yeah,
to the
some
Bucs.
some
So
guy number 12 was gone.
That also has something to do with it. 2021 Steelers 9-7-1. In typical Mike Tomlin, figures a way to get into the playoffs, loses to Kansas City in the wild card round. Rams in 2022, coming off a Super Bowl, that's legit. 5-12, missed the playoffs. Eagles 2023, 11-6, lost to Tampa in the wild card round. Last year, Cleveland Browns 3-14, missed the playoffs. So that's the challenge the Giants are going to have here in terms of trying to put together a year where they can make a run at the playoffs. Only 2 playoff teams, also only 2 teams that finished 500 or better. Every other team was 7 wins or fewer, and half the teams were 6 wins or fewer. So just wanted to throw that number out there before we got going here.
I don't think any of us needed to hear that stat to know that the Giants' schedule looks very challenging. I mean, to be frank with you, we've discussed this on past shows because of their own division and then the divisional matchups that they're forced to play, including the AFC West this year. You knew this was going to be a bear without even looking at the numbers.
Now, keep in mind, we have not seen the schedule, folks, and there's been a number of games that have been announced. You can go, all the insiders, Pelissaro, Rappaport, go to the Twitter feeds. They have them all. The international games have been announced, except for who's playing the Chargers in Brazil opening week. Is that the one opponent?
The visiting team in that game.
And Chargers are the home team, right? But we
the
don't
visiting
know the
team has
team
not
yet,
been announced
which is
yet.
weird that they wouldn't announce that team yet. I don't understand that. That's a little strange.
Well, I'm just glad that the Giants are hosting the Chargers this year, so we don't have to worry about that game.
Correct. Okay. So here we go. I have 10 questions. Paul and I will go through each one and kind of see where we wind up, just for fun. All right. Question number 1. How many primetime games, Paul, will the Giants have this year? This includes home and road. You can separate them if you want.
See, now, if you did this as an over-under question on our pregame show that we usually do, I would have expected you to set it at 3.5.
Correct.
Because I really believe that it will be either 3 or 4. I decided on 4.
See, last year, just so people know, it was 3.
Correct.
That's how many primetime games the Giants had last year. 2 Monday night games. 2 Thursday night games, right? And 1 Monday night game. I have that correct, right?
Yes.
I have it at 3. So why'd you decide to go with 4?
Well, Mike North, who is the VP of the broadcasting schedule group over there at the NFL, about 3 or 4 weeks ago when he was on with the Buffalo Bills podcast, he specifically addressed the Giants.
Chris Brown and those guys do a nice job.
They do. And so Mike flat out said there's some excitement around the Giants. He did not think that they were a 3-win team last year. He thought that their talent on the roster was better than a 3-win team. So he thought coming in, they would already be improved. Kind of liked what they did. Cited Russell Wilson as a competent quarterback who should make a difference in some games and said, maybe it's possible the Giants are actually competitive all the way through the schedule to the end of the season, which makes them a more appetizing team for us. He flat out said that.
Interesting.
So I'm going to go 4.
Okay. I'm going to go 3, and I think they'll be all in the first half of the year. remember, there's a lot of flexing now, and I
Yes.
think that the league wants to leave themselves open, and I think the Giants will have the opportunity to get flexed into a night game later on in the year. And I'll even be more specific. I think you're going to have one home game. You're going to have 2 road games. I think you get one on Thursday, one on Monday, and I think you will get one Sunday night game early in the year.
Yeah.
And I think the home game will be the Sunday night game.
Because what's going to happen is because
You don't want people fighting New York City traffic on Thursday and Monday.
No.
So I think you'll give them the home game on Sunday night.
And I think there'll be a road Sunday game, and that'll be the 4th for me.
Okay, so you think 2 Sundays. Okay.
Yeah, I do.
There we go.
I think there's enough of excitement around here with the team potentially doing better. Russell Wilson does add some luster to the club, but also the fact that I think they may also be banking on the fact that you never know what could happen with this team. And, Abdul Carter is a headline player. And it's New York. New York is always going to get the benefit of the doubt. If they're leaning on one team,
true.
they're going to let the New York market have the game. So I'm going to go 4 with 2 Sundays, a Monday and a Thursday.
Okay. And this will kind of lead into my second question. What will be the season opener? I'm going Giants-Bears at Chicago, the first end of the Monday night doubleheader.
Okay, and the thread for that is what?
You want to have big markets on your primetime games the start of the year. Mm-hmm. The Giants started at home last year for the 100, so I think they'll start on the road this year. Okay. And I looked at the road matchups. I don't think you want to start them in a divisional game week 1. I think you like to avoid that. You want to put those later. Mm-hmm. And then you want to get another big market in there, right? And you want the game to be competitive. The Bears have some juice. They have a new coach. They have a rookie quarterback. They have really big playmaking wide receivers. There's some juice there. It's a big market. I also consider doing Giants-Patriots in that game. Mm-hmm. Another big market. Mm-hmm. Young team, improving. I think it's going to be Giants at Patriots for a Thursday night game.
Which they've done before.
Later in the year. So those are my 2. And again, you don't want to do as much travel because it's short weeks, right? You want to keep the games close. Chicago's not a long trip. Mm-hmm. New England's not a long trip. So I'm going to go Patriots hosting the Giants in a Thursday night game later in the year. But to this particular question, season opener, Giants at Bears, first leg of the Monday Night Football doubleheader to start the year.
All right. This is the only one of the 10 questions that you will ask that I'm a little bit of a thief on, because I had a conversation with Bob Papa this morning.
Okay.
And Bob does Sirius NFL radio, so he gets a little bit of a league-wide perspective on some things. And we kind of tossed this around. And he said to me, well, doesn't Monday Night Football have a doubleheader in week 1? He was under the belief that they did. I'm not sure 100%. I've already texted 2 people in the NFL office this morning.
I mean, it's been that way for the last 3 or 4 years.
It has.
So even if it's not, I'm still putting them on Monday night against the Bears. I don't care. Either way.
Okay. So we're going to assume that they do. Second game of the Monday Night Football schedule. Giants at Denver.
Ooh, okay.
Okay. Now, the rationale behind this, you get Russell Wilson going back to Denver, although he did not have a great career there.
I mean, didn't he already do that, though?
I don't care if he did or he didn't. I mean, I'm still going with Giants at Denver. The Bo Knicks obviously did extremely well and helped Denver get to the playoffs. You got Sean Payton, who is certainly a marquee coach, who would love to have a home Monday night game.
That's pretty good.
I could see that.
All right.
He's a big name. He draws. Sean Payton, everybody knows you. And Bo Nix coming off his rookie season. People are excited about him. So I'm going to say Giants at Denver, the nightcap of the Monday night doubleheader, because you're not going to give Denver the first game of the doubleheader because of the time zone. They would get the second game. Now, I know for Giants fans, they probably wouldn't really like that one too much.
No, I was trying to give the Giant fans a better game. At Denver's tough.
Denver's a playoff team.
And you're playing Mile High.
I know.
having wind early in the season.
I totally understand that. I'm not telling you it's a game I want.
I do not love that matchup.
That wasn't the question. You didn't say what
no,
you want
I
to
did
see.
not. I did. Well, that'll come later.
You're right. You said, what do you think could happen? I think.
Now, Russell Wilson is not. Yeah, Russell Wilson. The Steelers played at Denver last week in week 2, but Russell Wilson was hurt. Fields started
was
that
there.
game, so yes.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Giants at Denver, second half of the Monday night doubleheader, week 1. I think
like
that's
that.
a viable game.
I think that's pretty good. Okay, number 3, Paul. I'll let you answer this one first.
Okay.
Most exciting potential game on the schedule for you?
Well, the first part to my answer is kind of a variable because a lot of it's going to depend at what point in the season it is and if the game matters to the standings. That will add to the excitement of the
course.
game.
We're going solely on opponent right
So
here.
we'll
Right.
strictly go, right, but I want to make that clear.
Absolutely.
If we strictly go on opponent, I just think the home game against Kansas City is pretty cool.
I have the same thing. We might never see Patrick Mahomes play a game in this building again.
That's possible.
I mean, it's 8 years.
That's absolutely possible.
That's exactly why I picked the Chiefs too.
I mean, Mahomes is still right now one of the most magnetized players in
By
this
the way,
league.
you get Travis Kelce, who you get. You're definitely not going to see in this building ever again.
This might be his last year.
And you're probably never going to see Chris Jones in this building again either.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. I think that to me was one of the easier ones on my list. Here.
I thought that was, I was like trying to write down here, and I was saying, based off the timing and the standing, and I'm like, no, don't overthink this. Patrick Mahomes is coming to MetLife
Hold on.
Stadium.
There's another note on here. What does that say?
What's that?
I might get to see Taylor Swift. Is that what's on here?
Leave my paper alone. And folks, no, that's not here. Zoom in on this, Pearson. It's not here. It's not here.
He loves Tay-Tay. It's
Oh,
okay.
gosh.
Make that the teaser.
Gotta be
All right,
kidding
question
me.
number 4. Will the Giants play on a holiday this year, Paul Dottino? I'm going to be selfish and hope I'm right and just say no because I don't want them to, and I'm going to try to talk that into existence. And we know they're not playing on Black Friday.
Yes.
They already announced that game. You'll probably get, I looked this up, Christmas Day, I believe, is a Thursday this year, and I believe Christmas Eve is Wednesday.
Okay.
I looked this up. Let me double check and make sure that's true before I say this for sure. But I did look that up earlier, and I
Okay.
did not write it down. Christmas Day, the 25th of this Thursday. So you are going to have games on Christmas Day.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine they'll probably give you at least a doubleheader on that day, maybe a triple header, because it's a Thursday, and they're used to playing games on Thursday anyway.
Right.
You will not have, I can't imagine they're going to put a game on Wednesday on Christmas Eve. That would be
No.
very surprising to
No.
me. So you're down to either Thanksgiving or Christmas. Those are the 2 days you're looking at here. And and you know what? Do you want to count New Year's Day on the Thursday? That doesn't really count as a holiday
No,
game,
it doesn't really count.
So will they play on Thanksgiving or Christmas? I'm going to say no. They've played on one of those 2 days. It feels like the last 3 or 4 years, the Giants. I've not looked at it. They seem to be alternating Christmas, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Thanksgiving. I'm going to hope for all of our family's sakes that the answer is no. Paul's family might be excited to have him out of the house. Other people are not. But I'm going to go no.
I'm going no as well, but I just simply believe it's because the Giants, over the course of the last decade, have not been a very good team, and they also have not been overly exciting to watch.
Though you might have, there's a chance you could have
There's a
Jackson Dart
chance.
on the field at that point. But yes, I'm with you. Usually, they have not been a marquee, except for 2022, a marquee December, January team.
No, and, if you're going to play the percentages based on recent history, the Giants are just not the most attractive offensively. I mean, even if you think this defense is going to be great, that doesn't necessarily tell you the offense is going to be great.
Now, here's the thing. I doubt they'll play Dallas again. They do have a game at Detroit on the schedule.
I know they do.
So that could be another Thanksgiving possibility. I hope not, but it is in the mix as a possibility.
I think it's possible, but, we've had a couple of those now in the last decade.
I know. And
I don't
after
see it
not
happening.
having one for like 20
I know.
years, which was awesome, by the way. Let's get back to that. And, and then we'll see where we go. All right, question number 5. What back-to-back scenario do you want or do you want to avoid? I'll go quick.
Yeah.
I don't want any back-to-back divisional games. Let's spread those out a little bit.
Okay.
We don't need to jam those up in multiple games in a row. You catch them after you have an injury. You get a couple bad injury luck, and you're playing 2 of the teams you really need to beat in the division with, things on the line and you got a guy hurt and, you got to get him back. Oh, but you got to play two division games in a row. Spread those suckers out a little bit.
Okay.
Let's move them around so you don't catch a bad string with multiple division games in a row, especially against the NFC East where, I think the Commanders are going to take a step back this year, but you can easily make an argument that all three of those teams are going to be 500 teams or better. So let's spread those out a little bit. Spread them out. Spread them out, spread them out, spread them out.
All right. What I don't want to see Detroit and Philadelphia back-to-back.
Ooh, okay. That's a good one.
That would be a black and blue, painful couple of weeks.
By the way, how about throw the Chargers into that mix too with the way Jim Harbaugh plays?
You asked for back-to-back.
No, I know that's true. Well, no, yeah, I'm just expanding the conversation.
Well, to be frank, you could probably pick any combination of 3 or 4 of these teams
Broncos,
and not want to see them in a row.
The Broncos are a physical team. The Niners are going to be a physical team again this year. No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
But I'm going to say Detroit and Philly. If we're going to go cross division, because the division rival games, as you just alluded to, they're very, very difficult. But I'll go cross division. I don't want to see the Giants have to play Detroit and Philly in back-to-back weeks. What I would like to see.
Oh, you did give me both. Okay.
What I would like to see, and I don't think it's going to happen, especially if my earlier prediction is correct about Denver and Las Vegas on the same trip.
So you really want to get out of here and stay out there for a week, huh?
Well, they did that with the Cardinals and the 49ers.
They would, yeah.
And to be honest with you, John, I thought it worked out pretty well, and it saved the wear and tear of a second West Coast trip.
It did.
So, I would think that Brian Dable might have asked John Mara, and I don't know this.
And teams can request that.
There's no guarantee that they can say, help us out a little bit.
There's no guarantee the league will, agree to those requests.
I think if I'm Brian Dable, I'm probably trying to avoid that second West Coast trip because otherwise the Giants don't really have to go far.
No, they don't.
For the rest of their schedule.
Otherwise, their longest trip would probably be what?
Dallas.
Dallas, yes. Dallas and then New Orleans.
So get Denver and Vegas out of the way in one shot.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. All right, question number 6. How will the Giants end their season? They've been ending the season at Philly last year, and they kind of rotate back and forth. So I think they'll end the season at home this year, and it'll be hosting the Philadelphia Eagles.
I've got them hosting Dallas.
They haven't played Dallas last game of the year in a while.
And that's why I think it's time.
Oh, you're mixing it up, huh?
Got to be.
All right, I like it. All right, question number 7. What's the most overrated matchup on this schedule, Paul Dottino?
For me, it's got to be the Minnesota Vikings. Because there were going to be people who were going to try to assimilate the storyline from the last playoff game.
That's a good one.
And they'll try to hype it up, but there's no hype for me because the teams are too different. The Giants went in the wrong direction since that playoff season. And quite honestly, Minnesota, they got J.J. McCarthy playing quarterback, and I don't know what to expect from him. So I think to me, that game's going to be overhyped, overplayed. I'm just not overly excited about it.
That's a good one. I struggle with this one because there's so many good teams on the schedule, and I'm kind of excited about all of them, to be honest with you. I think this was a tough one to find a good answer to. I put the Commanders down just because I think they're going to have a little bit of a down year. I don't think they're going to be quite as good as they were last year. And it's going to be kind of like, C.J. Stroud going from his rookie year to his second year. I think we're going to see something similar with Jaden Daniels, where the league adjusts to what Cliff Kingsbury and he are doing, and I think they're going to take a little bit of a step back this year. We'll see if I'm right. I was wrong about the Commanders last year. I'm probably going to be more wrong about them again this year because they were awesome. So that's where I'm going to go with that. But I did not love that answer, folks. Got to be honest with you. So that was kind of me reaching a little bit, but that's where I wound up there. All right, most underrated matchup. This one I think I have a good one. I'm going Las Vegas Raiders. I think that's a fun matchup. Geno Smith plays a fun brand of football at quarterback. Brock Bowers is awesome. Ashton Genty is going to be a lot of fun to watch. You have Mason Crosby on defense. You just have enough, even though the Raiders are not probably going to be that good of a team, though maybe they will be better with Geno. I think that's a team that's going to be fun to watch this year. Pete Carroll, new coach. I think they'll be more disciplined. So I'm going to go Raiders as underrated, which is hard because there's not many underrated matchups on the schedule because the teams are so good.
No, they're not.
Which is why I went with the Raiders.
And, they'll be inside because the game is out there.
That's true.
Geno can throw it around a lot. So I understand that. I went with the Los Angeles Chargers. It's an out-of-division game with an AFC West opponent that you barely ever see if you're the Giants. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of hype and excitement about it, but you know how much I love Justin Herbert. So for me,
That's a fun game.
that is a fun game. Now, they're
by the way-
coming here, by the way.
And you also have a Marion Hampton, too. Who's
Yeah.
a lot of
really
fun.
good back. Really good back. So they're coming here. The Giants aren't going out there. Last time they went out there, it didn't go very well. But they're coming here. So I kind of think for me, that could be an underrated game.
I like it.
They're a playoff team from last
No,
year.
they're a good team.
So they are a good team, and
And, you know-
Harbaugh's a really good coach.
Correct.
So, that could be a very underrated game because it's a team you don't play much. It's obviously
Man.
out of division and out of conference, but there's a really good chance they're going to be good again. If the Giants could somehow beat them, that would be a heck of an upset. That'd be a really nice game.
I
to
was
win.
just thinking of this, looking at the schedule, Paul. Listen to the coaches the Giants have to face this year.
Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying. You don't
Andy
need to see
Reid,
stats.
Kevin O'Connell, Harbaugh, Shanahan, Peyton, Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
We don't know what Ben Johnson is, but we know he's a good coordinator. Pete Carroll.
Oh, I know.
Man.
I know.
Dan Quinn. He's a good coach. Nick Sirianni.
This is a mountain to climb for the Giants. There's no question about it.
I've gone through the quarterbacks, and that's always been a big thing.
That's always
wowed
fun
me,
to do.
But the
Sure.
coaches, you have
Yes.
3 or 4 Hall of Fame coaches in this group.
Yes.
Hall of Fame. That's wow. Okay. Sorry.
Which is why, by the way, before we go any further, which is why to some of the callers who've been saying over the last month or two, well, if the Giants win 6 or 7 games, what does that say?
It's a failure. Blah, 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 blah.
I'm not. No, I'm not going there.
What these games look like and how they play in them is
No
going to be
doubt.
very, very important.
But I think 6 or 7 wins could very possibly actually be a decent season.
When do you want the bye week, Paul Dottino?
I went with week 10 because I always do, and within give or take a week off of week 10 because you get your 3 preseason games, your 9 regular season games, that gets you to 12. So now you're 12 in, and now you only have 8 left. I like that. That's a percentage that I like. Give or take 1 week before, 1 week after, not bad. But if there's too much of a variation off of that, I don't like the buy.
All right, give me week 12. I want it late because I want that extra week late in the year to get Jackson Dart ready to play quarterback, just in case.
wow.
Just in case they're ready to put him in, and I don't know if they are or not. Russell Wilson could be awesome, and he could end up, having a great year, and they might not have to play Jackson Dart at all. That'd be fantastic too. But I want a late bye so that you could get a week to kind of get him ready to go in case you do want to work him into the lineup later in the year.
That's a real interesting take from out of left field for me, but makes some sense. Makes some sense.
I think they have.
That's an out of the box
I
one.
think they have week 14 buys now. By the way, I didn't want to do it that late after Thanksgiving, but that's where I kind of landed. I
Yeah,
wanted to
don't
get
wish that on the guys in the locker room.
I do not. So I want to just put a little bit of a later buy and kind of see where we're at. Again, I'm not predicting when Dart's going to play. We don't know, and the only people that are going to know are the Giants. So we'll just see where they go with that. All right, final question. Paul, what's the most important thing for you that you're going to look at when the schedule is first released?
I have referred to this over the last couple of weeks on the show, and I have said I would like to see 2 of the softer opponents on the Giants' schedule within the first 5 weeks. I have named, and you've helped me identify them, the 4 softer teams being New England, Las Vegas, Chicago, and New Orleans.
And the bad thing is that those are 4 road games
They are all road games.
because there are no soft home games.
None.
And
Not
again-
a single one.
And by the way, there's a chance all 4 of those games that you mentioned will not be soft games either.
Again,
But it's the best we could do.
Yeah, well, when I say softer, I think that's really the more appropriate word, right?
Correct.
They're not soft,
Yes.
but they are softer
Correct.
than the other games on the schedule. I would like to see if I had my druthers, my number one thing, if I went to the league, got on my hands and knees and screamed to the heavens and said, please, 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 help the Giants out. Give them 2 of their softer games in the first 5 weeks.
Can I get in the first 4? Can I get greedy?
I think that's probably asking too much, so I said 5.
I'm going to get greedy.
I mean,
Well,
I was
want-
saying 4 a few weeks ago, but I think that's too much to ask.
I want a chance for the Giants here to start the season fast with some momentum. And again, no matter who's on the schedule, they're going to have a chance to do that. But it would be nice if the schedule makers would give them, can you not play Patrick Mahomes in week 2? Can we avoid that? Can we not get at Philly in week 3? Can we avoid that? Can we not travel to Detroit in September? I would like to avoid that. So
First week of October against San Francisco. No,
and again,
please,
there
no.
aren't as many. Look, they're not the toughest schedule in football. These teams all have a chance to be good. They really do. But can I just avoid the behemoths in the first 4 or 5 games? Just keep the behemoths away from me. All right? I'll even deal with Dallas and Washington if I have to. I'll deal with them.
Oh, yeah.
I'll deal with them. But keep Patrick Mahomes away from me. I don't want to visit Denver because I don't like that. Keep me out of Detroit. I mean, I don't know what the 49ers are going to be, but I really don't want to play them either.
All right,
the
here,
Packers.
I'll give you my mix.
Can you get, I'll even take the Vikings early, maybe before J.J. McCarthy kind of hits his stride a little bit. Can I get J.J. early in the year before he starts playing really well?
First 5 games, and I don't need them in order, but give me first 5 games. Give me at Patriots, at Chicago. Okay, I want those to be 2 of them. I'll take my other 3 games. I'll take a home game against the Chargers. I'll take a road game, Washington. And I'll take a home game against Minnesota.
All right, there are 4 games.
Give me those 5. I'm good.
All right, do you want me to pick 5 too?
Pick 5.
If I was to pick 5, give me home versus Minnesota, home versus Washington, at Saints, at Patriots. I can't get too greedy. And give me at Denver.
Okay.
Give me those for the first 5 games, and I'll be happy.
So we both took the Bears and the Patriots in the first.
I did
5.
not take the Bears. I took the Saints and the Patriots.
Oh, you took the Saints and the Patriots.
Yeah, I took
okay.
the Saints and the Patriots.
Okay. I'm taking the Bears and the Patriots.
I want
in
the
first
Saints.
5.
I want the Saints nice and early. Send me to New Orleans week 1. I'll be happy. Nice 1:00 Sunday game at New Orleans.
I want them later because
Let's go.
in November and December when the weather's bad, I don't mind going down there and playing the game.
Okay. All right, that's pretty good. I buy that.
Okay.
You should want to put the Raiders late in the year then too.
Well, I said early.
Yeah. No,
Patriots
you're right.
and Bears.
You want to get the bad weather out of the way.
Yes.
All right, that's actually pretty good.
I want the bad weather out of the way, and I want 2 of the softer teams at the top.
I buy that.
I'm always thinking about the weather, John.
That's pretty good.
You know me.
No, that's pretty good. All right. Folks, Giants season ticket memberships, check them out. I know a lot of fans are excited. An impactful draft in free agency is in the books, and that means it's full steam ahead for the 2025 season. The schedule comes out Wednesday night. Take your fandom to the next level with a Giants season ticket membership and catch all the action at MetLife Stadium with an exciting home schedule on the horizon. With a membership, you will also stay connected to the club all year round, not just on game days, with exclusive member access and benefits. To learn more about a New York Giants season ticket membership, visit giants.com/tickets. And again, folks, just to remind you, the home schedule this year, the 3 NFC East teams, Green Bay, Minnesota, Kansas City, Los Angeles Chargers, San Francisco 49ers. It is a great home schedule. You're going to see some of the best players in the league come in here. And you're not going to, for some that won't come in here for a while because of the way the schedule goes. So make sure you go check that out. Can you put the volume down on the button at least?
Oh, sorry. I'm responding to the NFL person that I asked about.
No, that's fine. Just put the volume. You can text. Just put the
Okay, sorry. And by the way, he does not have an answer.
I think we should put that to tease now, Paul.
Sorry.
How big is the font on your phone, by the way? Show the people the font on your phone. It's gigantic.
I feel
What is that,
like
24 font?
I don't know. I like it. Well, the stupid keyboard takes up more than half of the phone. That I don't like. I wish I could make that smaller.
So you want big print but small keys. That's what you're looking for.
Well, I have enough trouble with typos with these keys anyway as they are.
Wait, so that means they're too... Why do you want them smaller then?
Because
It'd be tougher.
I don't like that it takes up so much of the screen.
Well, you know what would make you be able to see more on the other part of the screen? If you made the font smaller.
That's true.
201-939-4513. John Settle podcast, folks. The Dan Orlovsky pod is up. Go check that out. Dan does a great job talking about Jackson Dart. And then, of course, we have all our pods from last week, too. The last draft season, 2026 draft class, is Paul drinks on camera now, too, with a nice slurp.
But I hit the thing.
Oh, did you?
I hit the cough button.
Okay, I heard it in my ear. I thought it was coming through my headphones.
I hit the cough button.
I thought it was coming through my headphones. Sorry. A lot of good stuff on the John Settle podcast. Go check that out.
We're delirious today because the Knicks won.
We're having fun. It's
this
okay.
is awesome. What a great day.
We're also gonna have a schedule reaction to it. That hopefully we'll be able to record ahead of time if we get the schedule a little bit in advance. That'll air on sometime on Wednesday night on the John Settle podcast feed. So go check that out. All right, 201-939-4513, Giants.com, Giants app, Giants.com/podcast, favorite podcast platform. Just search for Giants Podcast Network. David in Charleston will lead us off. We got 2 Charleston calls to lead off the show. We'll start with David. David, what's going on?
How you doing, John?
We're great.
Hi.
And Paul, sorry, I can't forget about you.
It's all good.
So I just have a point, and then I just wanted to ask a question after that.
Sure.
So my point is, with the tight end group, you have Theo as the one. I'm not sure what's the order after that. But I'm kind of just curious on how does Daniel Bellinger fit into like the tight end group, and I guess my question is what would you guys see his role as, if he does make the 53? Because obviously I don't think the Giants would keep 4 tight ends on the 53. So I'm just curious about Daniel Bellinger because I'm a big fan of his rookie year, and and I'll take the answer offline, you guys.
Thank you, David. Good call. It's a good question. I don't think it's impossible that they keep 4 tight ends.
I concur.
We've seen that before.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys can play special teams.
Mm-hmm.
So just keep that in mind. So I don't think that's impossible, first and foremost. One, I think Theo Johnson's going to be good to go. By the time the season starts, he is coming off a serious injury. But I imagine he should be good to go in the summer or in the fall. We'll have to wait and see when we hear from him and we see OTAs and whether or not he's out there on the field. But I think Bellinger right now is your backup tight end. He's your number 2. So if Theo Johnson does have to miss time and you need a guy to step in there as your starter, I think right now is Daniel Bellinger. Chris Manhertz is your blocker. I think he's more of your inline blocker. I think if they need a fullback, I think that's also Bellinger. He's done that role before.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's another part of his role. And then look, then you got to see what Thomas Fidone can do. Tight end is one of the toughest positions to adjust to in the NFL. It'll be a little easier for Fidone because he's actually was asked to do NFL things at tight end in Nebraska for the last 2 years. So I think that will give him a little bit, or 1 year. Matt Rule was there. Was he there for 1 year or 2? He was 2, right?
He was there for 2.
2 years. So I think that gives him a little bit of an advantage, Paul, to get ready to play this year. But I think asking him to be the full-out backup right away is probably asking a little bit much. And no one's higher on Fidone than I am for a 7th-round pick. So I think right now he's your backup tight end that can do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, Fidone actually told us in his media briefing about how much he believes Matt Rule prepped him for the NFL.
And
he said he was very fortunate.
And we're going to have Marcus Sattersfield, who was his tight ends coach at Nebraska. I recorded this about a week and a half ago on the John Settle podcast. That's coming up, I think, late next week or something like that. So check that out. And he also talks about how much he certainly helped him as somebody to get him ready in the NFL.
Yeah, I feel extremely confident that Bellinger will be tight end 2 on this team. We had somebody ask us, I think on a show last week, John, you were not on it. I think it was Matt and I. He was suggesting that Bellinger gets cut, and I don't see that at all.
I don't think that's impossible either.
Really?
I don't think it's impossible.
I think it would be a real slim possibility. You never say never.
I don't think
but I don't see it happening.
I don't think it's likely either. And, I don't want to try to anticipate that. But, look, I think let's see how Fidone plays. This is the last year of Bellinger's rookie contract. So you're going to have to make a decision on him at some point after the year anyway. I would never say never, but would it surprise me? Yes.
And then there's Dulcich, too. I keep throwing him out there.
I keep forgetting about him. Thank you. Another guy that can be a receiving style tight end. So they've actually done a pretty good job of getting different shapes and sizes and groups of guys in that room, which I like.
It's quite a mixture. And I think to John's first point about possibly keeping 4, the reason that I think that could be doable is because not only do you got the H-back / fullback possibility with the blocker, which you could use Manhurts or certainly Bellinger would be the preference guy to do there. The other problem is you just don't know exactly the depth of this wide receiver room yet. You don't know how that's going to shake out and how you feel about all those guys. Well, the tight end room has some possible flex tight ends who could be used in a 4 or 5 target set in the passing game.
Yeah.
Therefore, if you believe that Fedoni or Dulcich are better passing threats, or should I say receiving threats, than the potential 5th or 6th receiver that you take, there's a possibility you steal from that room. It could be done. I'm not saying they will, but it could happen.
Okay, let's go to Tim in Charleston. We'll stay down south. Tim, what's going on?
How you guys doing? So, I've got. I didn't know you were going to do what you did today, but I would like to answer your first question because I think you're both right on the primetime games. I think John, you're right. I think when the schedule comes out, there will be 3. But I think Paul, you're right because I think one will be flexed at the end of the year, assuming. And if the Giants start to give Jackson Dart some starts, I think that will be, an intrigue since he'll be a first-round quarterback. And I think the great game to do that in, if they had a late game against Washington, it would be Washington's first-round pick last year against our first-round pick this year.
So I just want to correct you for a second there, Tim. So you're saying that I was right because I selected 3 initially and Paul was wrong. That's basically what you're saying.
Okay, I'll let you guys hash that out on your own.
Tim,
Well,
I'll go one further. I'm going to flip the coin the other way. What if the Giants are a 500 team in December and are actually in the conversation
Good point.
as a team that is extremely competitive and still alive? All of a sudden, the networks are going to say, we got a chance to put New York in a primetime game, maybe in a rivalry game against Philadelphia or Washington.
You might even get to 5.
I mean, I'm telling you right now, NBC or ESPN, whoever it is going to be that's going to be asking for the flex, they're going to want New York. If there's any chance that the Giants can have an exciting competitive rivalry game that means something, they will want to flex that game in.
I hope so, Paul. I hope you're right, but I think my scenario is more likely. So
I didn't say it wasn't. I simply said it's a possibility.
No, sure, anything is. But then I got one quick comment that I want to make that's not related, and then I have something that is related to what you said today, but I didn't know you guys were going to go through all that, so I have a question for both of you.
Sure.
So the comment is, the more stuff I see and the more I hear about Abdul Carter, I think he's going to have double-digit sacks in his rookie season. And I know there's a lot of variables that go into it and everything. I'm not making this an official prediction, but I think he is because obviously highlights are highlights. It's not every single play. But the guy's like a freaking missile out there. I mean, he's like a missile. A heat-seeking missile, and the quarterback is the heat-seeking. But so, you guys still there?
Yeah, we got you. Yeah, we agree.
Oh, okay.
We are nodding. I guess that doesn't work over the phone.
There's really not much of a dispute as to Carter's ability to get to the quarterback.
Yeah. So, and then the question that I had planned to ask you, I'm still going to ask it because you didn't quite ask the same question in your 10 questions, which were interesting, John, is if you could cherry pick the first home game and the first road game, and I'll give you my choices first, which games would it be? And for me, I think if I could cherry pick the home game, I would pick Minnesota.
Yes.
If as the first home game. If I could cherry pick the road game, I would probably go with New England, although New Orleans would be intriguing, but I like New England. I'd like to know who the two of you would pick with just the first home and the first road game. Not the first 5 games or the first 4 or just the first one. First home, first road to get us off to a decent start, hopefully.
Well, I mean, in my 5 preferred teams at the beginning of the schedule, I did have Chicago, and I did have New England, and I did have Minnesota. All of those teams were in my first 5, so I'd be very happy to have a home game to open against Minnie. But they did that last year, and it didn't work out very well for the 100th season.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
That was a really rotten way to start it. Now, I'm not sure that will happen this year. Giants could very well beat them, especially if McCarthy's the quarterback and he looks like a deer in headlights and winds up, turning the ball over 4 times. But I'd be okay with that. Yeah, I don't know. You want me to pick one? I'll go Patriots instead of Chicago for the opening game and get Chicago in week 3. I don't care.
Yeah, I guess if they didn't want to do Minnesota 2 years in a row, I would take the Niners. But how about you, John?
If I had to cherry pick a home game, yeah, I would probably pick the Vikings, to be honest with you. Maybe no, yeah, I would pick the Vikings. That would be the game I would pick. The 49ers, I feel like are going to be out for vengeance this year. McCaffrey's going to be healthy, or at least he looks healthy now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you. I would pick the Vikings.
How about away? First road game.
Saints.
Okay, cool.
Because
guys.
Thank you, Tim. Appreciate the call. The Saints have a potential to be just disastrous. Mm-hmm. It's not their fault. I mean, Derek Carr had to retire for a shoulder injury. I mean, it's not anything they did wrong. It's just circumstance.
Yeah, no, I get you.
And I love Tyler Shook. I think he's going to be good, but rookie quarterbacks, second-round picks, I mean.
That would certainly be very much under consideration for me.
If he wins the job. I'm assuming he's going to beat out Spencer Rattler for the job. Maybe he won't. I
still want to save the Dome game for later on in the year when there's bad weather. I'm sorry. That's a big deal for me.
That's a big deal for you.
Well, especially for Howard Cross. If you ever listen to Howard, it's 10 times worse for him.
I enjoy hearing Howard complain. I would be all for having nice... All right, so here's what we're going to do now. Let's have some fun. Shakes, we'll get to you in a second. Here's the all Howard Cross schedule. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We want at New England and at Chicago sometime in December. And we can even go to at Denver in December, too. Denver gets cold.
It does.
So it's Mile High after all. So you got to get those 3 games late. Eagles at Philly, last game of the year. Okay. So those will be your last 4 road games. And then you just mix up the rest. And early on, you got to get the Dome games in. So
Dallas can get pretty chilly, too. And they don't always close the roof. They hardly ever do.
I mean, it's not going to get oppressive. They won't close the roof if it gets oppressive.
No, it won't get oppressive.
So that means you got to play the Lions earlier in the year because it's a Dome game.
Right.
And so that won't help Howard. I'm trying to make Howard
Well,
miserable.
Washington's not fun.
No, yeah, you could play Washington late in the year too.
That's never a fun game.
That's true. No argument for me.
The weather on that, and
you actually have some potential bad weather games late in the year between Philly, Washington, Chicago, Denver, New England. You have 5 potential tough weather road games if you want to put them late in the year.
So Howard recently bought some new boots that he can use on the field when he's working sidelines.
The heated.
Yeah, they're very thick and insulated.
But do they have like the little battery and the heat in them like his vest?
He's got his vest. He's got the battery powered vest going.
Yeah.
He's had that for a couple of years now. But the boots, he got a different pair of boots I thought last year, if I'm not mistaken, and they look pretty heavy duty.
Howard's always prepared. He still complains, but he's always prepared.
Well, everything is cold to Howard. He played at Alabama.
Yes, and I can speak to experience. When you have a cold weather game, you better be dressed properly on the sideline.
Indeed.
I have been through a couple of those in my life. They're not fun. I turned purple. All right, let's go to Shakes in Baltimore, Maryland. Shakes, what's going on, man? Twice in 2 weeks, man. I feel blessed.
I don't think I've heard from him in a long time.
Hey, P-Dot. What's going on, P-Dot?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Second time this week. I'm back, man. I'm back in full effect. But, man, I got some things, and then I got a question for y'all.
Sure.
Something like that. All right, so first off, this defensive rotation, the front 7, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. So my thing is with this defense, with that rotation, it should be tops in the league, but it all relies on the cornerbacks. Do Deontay Banks take that step up or, shows the promise that he showed in his rookie season? Or does he show, the step down that he did in the second season?
Hey, everything's related, Shakes. The corners help the pass rush. The pass rush helps the corners. No doubt about it.
Yep.
Exactly. So, and then also, seeing if Paulson or Debo is a number 1 corner, that's, it all relies on those corners and stuff like that, but I think there's going to be a top defense. Now, my question for y'all is, with Jackson Dart, y'all in the building, right? And I'm a Jackson Dart guy. I'm a fan, and I'm letting it be known. I am a Jackson Dart guy. I want to know, because y'all been in the building, when they both came into rookie camp, Jackson Dart and Daniel Jones, can y'all tell me the difference in demeanor?
Demeanor-wise, okay, good question. I'm happy Shakes you didn't ask about how well they played on the field because that would be meaningless.
Totally
but
wasted
I'm
time.
happy you asked about demeanor. I think that's a good one. I think Jackson Dart is probably more outgoing.
I agree.
He's much more, I think, like charismatic. You know, Daniel was very serious, very straightforward, very kind, very nice guy. But, you know, when Jackson Dart enters a room, it kind of brightens up a little bit. You know, Daniel would not drag a room down by any means. He was a really good dude, but he's not, you know, going to go out there and, you know, be the center of attention and shake everyone's hand and, you know, do all that sort of thing. Like, Jackson Dart just seems, he has a magnetic personality more so than Daniel has, at least in my opinion.
I'll say this. Both guys right out of the box were very professional.
Oh, professional for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
But I think the difference is Daniel Jones would be more likely to go to a country music concert, and we've seen video of him doing that and getting on stage and singing with some country music guys. Jackson Dart's not going to do that. Jackson Dart is much more likely to be with some dance music guys instead of country music guys.
Please give some examples, Paul. Like who?
I have no idea. but I guarantee you that Jackson Dart is hopping and bopping away.
Hopping and bopping.
You know, he's not doing the good old boy line dance on stage at a country music show.
I don't think I've seen Daniel Jones line dance either, but okay, great.
So that's probably right. Little bit city, little bit country. I think that's kind of the personalities that John's talking about.
Got you. Thank you for taking my call, y'all. I'll be calling again. Man.
No, thank you, Shakes. Appreciate it, man. I like that hopping and bopping. That you're like stealing that from like even that sounds like it should be a Will Clyde Frazierism, but I've never actually heard him say hopping and bopping. But it could be.
Could be. I love Clyde.
So do I. How can you not love Clyde?
I don't believe he's ever used that, and I just kind of
because I mean, hopping and bopping is not exactly something you do on the basketball court.
Not necessarily.
That would be traveling if you're hopping and bopping. It's true. You can't hop and bop in basketball.
No,
you travel. Though Peyton Pritchard had to do that on that one jump stop to the rim yesterday, where he jump stopped and then took like 3 little pitter patter steps. He was hopping and bopping, but the travel was not called.
40+ points by Tatum and one-sided officiating by the refs, and the Knicks still won.
No, do not blame the officials. The officials.
I'm not blaming anybody because the Knicks still beat them.
Scott Foster was there too. Scott Foster is known as the extender, where they put him in these series to make sure that the series go longer. But
that's what they say.
I actually thought the officials did an okay job, though. There was being at the game.
Didn't the Celtics have twice as many free throws?
Well, the Knicks had 0 free throws like the first 18 minutes of the game.
Thank you.
So
right to my point.
Huge Bronx cheer when Brunson finally got sent to the line at the end of the second quarter. I think Knicks had 4 free throws in the first half.
It came through the speakers on the TV very loudly.
Oh no, the fans were annoyed.
Absolutely,
they were very much annoyed. Luckily, the Celtics actually missed some free throws in the first half there, which helped keep the Knicks within striking distance. All right, let's wrap things up. Lamonier in New York? Is that what it is? Lamonier, what's going on, pal?
That? Hello.
That's correct. Yeah. How you doing, guy? What's up, Paul?
Hi.
What's up, John? How you doing, John?
Doing great, dude. What do you got?
I'm French fan, but I'm not French.
I like it.
I watch you guys every day, man. I'm a huge fan.
Thank you.
Love your content. Love what you guys bring. Love what you talk about. Not going to keep you too long. I just want to – I keep hearing that people keep saying the Giants are not better. We got the same team from last year. People keep forgetting that. We lost, I think, 8 or 9 one-score games last year. That's not correct.
7 or 8, I think. Yeah, in that range, somewhere in that area.
Now to be fair, I think you're talking more about the national media than maybe the locals, because I think the locals have kind of praised the draft.
And by the way, I will say this:
improvement.
Lamagna, even with the national media, I think what I've heard from them is like, yeah, we actually really like the Giants' process. We think they've added good players, and the roster's a lot better.
Think they're not very good.
We like them training up for Jackson Dart. They didn't give up a lot. We like the process. I think there's just, I think Lamagna, where the questions are, is from the national folks specifically, they're like, we think the roster's better. Like their defense is going to be good. There's just no level of confidence in what the quarterback situation is. That's where the national media is right now. I think Russell Wilson has a little bit more left in the tank than they do. I think he has a chance to still be an effective quarterback. But that seems to be, to me, where the national media has been most critical about where the roster is.
The biggest surprise that's going to shock them all is that the Giants' special teams are going to be incredible this year.
Well, and I think offensive line, too. I think the impression to Lamagna...
That was a good point. But that was a good point you just made about the national media. National media was was very good to the Giants this year. They praised us more on the local side, still getting the hate. But absolutely, they didn't give up a lot in the draft to get Jackson Dart. We gave a 34th, the 99th pick we was never going to use, in my opinion, we was never going to use anyway. So I think Joe did great. I think it was his best draft, probably one of the greatest drafts in NFL history, in Giants history.
Wow, well, let's see how the players play, Lamont, before we say that. Does it have a chance to be a franchise-defining type of draft? Yes, it has that potential. Whenever you pick a quarterback in the first round, it has that potential.
Sure.
But we got to see it happen first. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. It look good on paper, but you're right. We got to see it happen on the field. I got a lot of faith in Jackson Dart. He's young. He got swag to him. We got grit to him, and we didn't have that at quarterback in a long time. And I got a lot of faith in him. I think that we'll at least this year. I'm saying it now. It's my bold prediction. I think we lost 7 to 8 one-score games last year. This year, with more competence at quarterback, we win more than half of those games. I think we'll be around 8 or 9 games, and probably squeezing a wild card. Hopefully,
Lamonier, that is a very reasonable argument. I appreciate the call, man. Thanks so much. Don't be a stranger, dude. Call back. Look, I think that's the formula, right? Mm-hmm. Win some more of those close games, and look, you just got to score more points. Like, we've been through this a million times, and I said this on the show with Lance yesterday, Paul, and Joe Shane has said this. The intention wasn't to use most of your resources on defense this offseason. It just so happened that's where the good players and the value ended up being, at corner, at safety. There's reports out there that they were after a couple of high-priced offensive linemen. They just got priced out of the market.
Defensive line was incredibly thick.
Right, and then in the draft, right, you have the defense, you're picking third. You have to pick Abdul Carter. He's just the best player.
Right.
You got to pick him. Right. Darius Alexander's sitting like a sore thumb in round 3. You have to take him. Mm-hmm. So it was just hard to, fill out the offense, I think, as much as they would have liked. I think you put them in a vacuum and you asked Joe Shane, would you have liked to add another weapon to this offense this offseason? Whether it's a big upgraded offensive line or another weapon for Daniel Jones to throw the ball to do?
Would have.
I think the answer is yes. I just don't think the opportunity was there.
Just remember, though, when you're trying to get to the mediocre or the respectable level, Giants have been right now below sea level. All right, that's just where they are. They've been below sea level. When you try to get in that competitive range, the easiest way to do it is by enhancing your special teams and your defense first. Offense does come last in that equation.
Well, it depends on the team. If you get a really good quarterback first, you're probably going to try to get the offense better first. Like the Vikings, for example. Like the Vikings focused on their offense first, and now they're trying to get their defense better.
Because that involves just one position. If you can dramatically upgrade just that one position, it does change the whole picture.
Of course.
And, that's not what the idea was here. When they went for Dart, they kind of went for him for future, not for now. That's why Russell Wilson's here.
I think the other part of it with the national media, and trust me, I understand this. National media folks are not locked in on the ins and outs of the Giants' offensive line.
No.
I get that. So I
understand
understand
the special teams acquisitions they've signed.
And especially given how poor the Giants' offensive line has consistently been over the last 10 years, the assumption is they're just going to be bad again. Mm-hmm. But I think they missed the fact, and Joe Shane has pointed this out, and so did we last year at the time, that when Andrew Thomas was healthy and the other guys were on the field, the Giants' offensive line was much better than it had been last year. Now, am I telling you it's a top 10 unit? No. Am I telling you was it good enough for the Giants' offense to function at a pretty decent level? Yeah, the answer is yes. So, again, there's a lot of ifs there. If Andrew Thomas is healthy, if other guys stay healthy, that can change. You never know. That's the NFL, right? If that can be a little bit better to help out the quarterback, because the problem is that the offensive line's bad, it's going to be hard for Russell Wilson to succeed under those circumstances with his height and that sort of stuff. So, and again, that's not on Russ. That's just the nature of playing behind an offensive line that struggles. But I do think the pieces are here for that offensive line to be pretty good again, to give that quarterback room a better chance to succeed. It's a big domino thing on offense. You know that, Paul. I got to tell you.
No doubt.
One thing goes wrong, it impacts everything else. The offensive line gets hurt. You can't run the ball. Then you put the quarterback in more situations. He faces pressure more negative plays. Blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You get where I'm going with this, right? So that's the other thing I think why the national media is a little bit more down on the Giants than maybe some other people that are a little closer to it are, is that they still think the offensive line is the group that was here, 2 years ago. It's not the improved unit that you saw for the first 6 or 7 games last year.
Russell Wilson, over the course of his career, just to make something very clear, folks, because we all know about his ability to extend plays and to make throws on the run and go with a moving pocket. That's all true. Not as much as when he was younger, no doubt. He also runs less than when he was younger. He's been sacked 560 times in 199 games. Okay? Now, let me actually do the math here while I can pull this up on the computer.
It's about 2.7 sacks per game.
560 divided by 1. Oh, very good, John. And it is exactly 2.8.
That was close.
2.8 sacks per game.
I'm good with math in my head. That's
excellent.
I'm actually pretty good.
That's excellent. Okay. So 2.8 sacks per game times 17 games comes out to 48 sacks for
a lot of sacks.
If you are Brian Daboll and Joe Shane and you get a full season out of Russell Wilson as your starting quarterback, let's assume that as for the hypothetical, you don't want him sacked 48 times this season.
I mean, he was
you
sacked.
Do not.
And last year in 11 games, he was sacked 33 times. So that was a flat-out 3 sacks a game situation. And the year before Denver, in 15 games, he was sacked 45 times. So that's 3 sacks a game. The year before that for Denver,
led the league, 55.
That was 3.5 sacks per game, give or take.
Okay.
Maybe a little more than that, like 3.7.
And folks, that's not a good recipe for the Giants to be competitive.
Think about that. Last year, the Giants had
not.
46 sacks, right? That was like 8th most in the league.
Yeah.
So that can give you an idea of where you're at.
Now, to be fair, there's a little bit of this on him. Wilson is so good at protecting the ball, he'd rather take a sack than throw a bad.
He'll hold it. He's absolutely part of that.
He'll hold it rather than throw a bad, ill-advised throw that's going to get intercepted because he doesn't like to give the ball away.
Paul, let's just be logical. Go through it. Look at his seasons. How many seasons has he been sacked fewer than 40 times in a year?
1.
Last year, but he only played in 11 games, so that doesn't really count.
Yeah, so 2001 with Seattle.
And
his rookie season.
That's
3
it.
times. 3 times he's been sacked less than 40 times.
And one was
in
in only 11 games, so you can throw that one out. That doesn't count.
Now, again, remember, because he does do a lot of rollouts.
No, it's
a lot of moving pockets.
It's the nature of how he plays.
It's part of it. It's part of it. He does hold the ball. He doesn't want to throw it away. He'd rather take the sack. Eli used to rather take the sack too. Eli's sack numbers were always a little bit inflated, and partly because he didn't want to put the ball in harm's way a lot of times.
He wasn't exactly escaping pressure either.
And no, he wasn't. He wasn't running around as much as
unless
Wilson
it's against the Patriots in Super Bowl 42.
Exactly. So anyway, no. If I'm Joe Shane, I don't want Wilson sacked 48 times this year.
But again,
I just don't.
On the other side of that, you look at his years, even his years that were quote-unquote bad, like his last year in Denver when Sean Payton wanted him out, he still had 26 touchdowns and 8 interceptions.
Yeah.
The Giants have not had a year like that in probably, 2016?
How about this? His career high in picks is 13.
I know.
That's his career high.
He's only had double digits 5 times in his career, which is pretty good.
The guy is not going to get careless with the football, and he's going to keep you in games.
Right. And then, last year with Pittsburgh in 11 games, he had 16 touchdowns. If he plays another 6, you're looking around 25 again.
I know.
That's another 25 touchdown year. I mean,
less than 10.
Go through it.
That average is less than 10 interceptions.
I mean, he's only had fewer than 20 touchdowns twice. One in his shortened season last year with 11 games, and then only 16 his first year with Denver. And that's it. Otherwise, he's had at least 20 touchdowns every year. In fact, he's had at least 25 touchdowns in all but 4 of his seasons.
Yeah.
So that's I know the league is down on him as a player, but guys, just look at the production the Giants have gotten out of the quarterback position. Frankly, since 2017, even in the last couple years of Eli, it's not that.
No, it's not.
It's not that.
It's not. Even Daniel Jones' playoff season was not this.
Exactly. So I think that's why, is it like going to be Super Bowl Russell Wilson? No, but I think, again, it's going to be an upgrade. And I think he raises the floor a little bit in terms of what you're going to do.
No doubt.
Paul, good stuff.
It's fun.
That's Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the Giants. You're listening to Big Blue Kickoff Live, and we're coming to you live from the Hackensack Meridian Health Podcast Studio. Keep getting better. For Paul Dottino, I'm John Schmeelk. Tomorrow it's Paul and SciTac. They'll get you ready. Maybe they'll have one Giant game released by then.
Who knows?
They're going to have a bunch of games released tomorrow morning. Some more holiday games and other primetime games. Maybe we'll know at least one Giant game before we get on tomorrow. And then Paul and Matt can overanalyze that for about 10 minutes, which will be fun. Then we'll take your calls.
We'll talk to you.
All right, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow. See ya.